For over 60 years, from 1892 to 1954, Ellis Island was the busiest immigration processing center in the United States. Over 12 million people passed through Ellis Island, including my own paternal grandparents, Vito Micheli and Rose di Lucia Sottoducati. Their names proudly appear on plate 755 of the Wall of Honor. Immigration officials reviewed about 5,000 immigrants per day during peak times at Ellis Island. Today, over 100 million Americans, about 1/3 to 40% of the population of the United States, can trace their ancestry to the immigrants who first arrived in America by way of Ellis Island before traveling further to points all over the country. Usually, immigrants spent from 2 to 5 hours at the processing station. Arrivals were asked 29 questions, including name, occupation, and the amount of money carried. The government wanted to see between $18 and $25 so that the new arrivals, in the jargon of the day, would not become a public charge. They were also given a brief but important medical exam. Those with visible health problems or diseases were sent home or held in the island's hospital facility. About 2% were denied entrance to the U.S. and sent back to their countries of origin for reasons such as having a chronic contagious disease, criminal background, or insanity. Ellis Island was sometimes called Heartbreak Island or the Island of Tears because of this. Uniformed military surgeons performed the medical exams, which included the use of a button hook to check immigrants' eyes for diseases. The doctors would watch immigrants climb the stairs from the baggage area to the Great Hall for difficulties in getting up the staircase. After the exam, doctors used chalk to write on their clothing different code letters for various medical conditions. Some immigrants supposedly entered the country only by surreptitiously wiping the chalk marks off or by turning their clothes inside out. Today, Ellis Island has become the Ellis Island National Museum of Immigration. Visitors can take self-guided tours in which the immigrant experience comes alive. They can also visit the American Immigrant Wall of Honor. Look for your ancestors there, or have their names inscribed on the wall for a nominal fee. God bless America. Italian song or American song? Unknown to many people, a large number of the great popular music hits in America and the English-speaking world are translations or adaptations of wonderful music that was originally written in Italian by Italian artists. English-speaking artists and composers have also turned to Italian music, including opera, as a melodic source to accompany English lyrics. Elvis Presley, one of the most popular singers of all time, used Italian songs twice and had his writers adapt them for American audiences. Do you remember It's Now or Never? That's really the Italian classic O Sole Mio. You can hear versions of the original by Pavarotti, among others. Presley's tune, Surrender, was adapted from the wonderful Neapolitan song, Torna Sorrento. Bobby Rydell and Dean Martin both had hits with the English version of Domenico Modugno's classic Volare, and Modugno's version, sung in Italian, was also a hit on American radio. Sometimes the English adaptation is far from the original Italian in lyrical content, even though the adapters use the original Italian melody. This is the case with the song I Want to Be Wanted by Brenda Lee, and its Italian original, Per tutta la vita, which means for all my life. The same thing happened with Tom Jones' smash hit Help Yourself, which in Italian was originally Gli occhi miei, which translates as My Eyes. Once again, in America, the group The Grassroots had a hit called Let's Live for Today. The original Italian song was named Piange con me, Cry with Me. As I mentioned earlier, opera is often a source for melody for pop song lyricists. Della Reese had a hit with her famous Don't You Know, which is a melody written by Giacomo Puccini called Valzer di Musetta in his great opera La Bohème. Many may say, how can they use these songs? Well, in many cases, the original melody has passed into what's called the public domain. That means the song is so old that it has passed outside the time limit for copyright protection, and anyone can use it freely. In other cases, lyricists pay royalty fees to the original composers for using their melodies. Many famous Italian-American singers have used songs which were originally from the Italian. Lou Monte adapted the classic Sicilian folk tune C'è la Luna into his hilarious song Lazy Mary. Do you remember? Lazy Mary, you better get up, we need the bed sheets for the table. Jerry Vale turned to the Neapolitan folk tune O Marinariello for his beautiful rendition of I Have But One Heart. By the way, most Italian Americans are familiar with O Marinariello as the song they call Vicino Mare. Those are the first two words of the chorus, but the real title is O Marinariello. The song Just Say I Love Him, which was a big hit for Engelbert Humperdinck, was originally an Italian hit song called Di Citancello Voglia, sung by Tito Schipa. Anima e Cuore, covered by Connie Francis, was actually translated into English with 3 different sets of lyrics as the songs Until, With All My Heart and Soul, and finally as How Wonderful to Know. There are many other examples, too many for us to delve into here, but I think we can all agree Italian music has made a huge impact on popular American and English songs. Hopefully, we will all be able to enjoy many more beautiful Italian melodies from future Italian musicisti and cantanti. Thanks for watching. Michelangelo Buonarroti, the greatest artist who ever lived. Sculptor, painter, and architect, his works are among the most well-known in the entire world. Born in 1475 in Caprese, Tuscany, he is most often associated with Florence and Rome. It was in these 2 cities that he created his most famous masterpieces, where they can still be found today. During his lifetime, he was called Il Divino, the Divine One, and was known for his terribilità, or sense of awe-inspiring grandeur. He created 2 of his greatest works before he was 30, and he was still creating masterpieces in his 70s. He died at the age of 88, which was well beyond the life expectancy of the time. At 24 years of age, he completed his famous Pietà, which was commissioned by the French ambassador to the Holy See. When you are near this masterpiece, you don't just view it, you feel it. The sorrow of the Virgin Mother holding her crucified Son is as palpable as the marble he used to sculpt it. It is this quality of creating emotions that elevate the work of Michelangelo to a magical status. The Pietà is now located in St. Peter's Basilica. The statue of David is another of Michelangelo's most famous and amazing works. This statue, created from a huge block of Carrara marble, was begun by other sculptors, but the project was terminated and lay dormant for 25 years. Finally, the Florentine authorities commissioned 26-year-old Michelangelo, who took 2 more years to complete the masterpiece. To be in the presence of the original piece is to experience wonder, courage, and awe. It captures the moment when the young David has decided to battle Goliath, and his determination and courage are captured forever in this stone. Not only was Michelangelo the greatest sculptor who ever lived, he also ranks among the greatest painters. According to some authorities, his frescoes in the Sistine Chapel are regarded as one of the major artistic accomplishments of human civilization. His depiction of God touching the hand of Adam is known to every art student all over the world and any lover of fine art. Finally, it was Michelangelo who designed a major portion of St. Peter's Basilica in the Vatican at age 74. What an amazing artist! What an amazing man! Bravo, Michelangelo!
My love is like a star, my darling, shining bright and clear. Just because you're here, se ci separò, se ci allontanò l'ala del destino. Non mi occupa, noi mi sentirò sempre a te vicino. Non dimenticare, although you travel far, my darling, it's my heart you own, so I'll wait alone. Non dimenticare. Se ci separò, se ci allontanò l'ala del destino. Non mi occupa, noi mi sentirò sempre a te vicino. Non dimenticare, although you travel far, my darling, it's my heart you own, so I'll wait alone. Non dimenticar.
Saint Anthony was born in Portugal in 1195, and while a teenager he witnessed the martyrdom of some followers of St. Francis. Their courage inspired him to become a Franciscan. He was sent to Morocco, but was forced to return due to illness. On the voyage back to Portugal, a storm blew them off course, and they landed in Italy. He stayed there the rest of his life. Anthony was known as a gifted preacher and orator. His tongue is enshrined in Padua and has not decayed since his death hundreds of years ago. Due to his great knowledge and speaking talent, he was often sent to preach and convert sinners, often drawing great crowds to his sermons. Although he only spoke Portuguese, he is said to have had the gift of tongues. He was understood by anyone, no matter what language they spoke. In Padua, where Anthony often preached, the crowds grew to over 30,000, way too many for even the largest church. He would then preach in the piazza or in the fields. On one occasion, only a small group of his enemies attended his sermon in the nearby town of Rimini. Anthony left the church and went to the banks of the nearby Marecchia River and began preaching. Before long, thousands of fish came to the surface, popping their heads out of the water, arranging themselves in neat rows to hear the saint preach. His enemies, who had followed him, were converted. St. Anthony is called the finder of lost things, and many know the chant, St. Anthony, please come around. Something is lost that needs to be found. During his life, St. Anthony's most valued prayer book was stolen by a young friar who had left the order. St. Anthony prayed for its return, and soon the young friar came back, saying he was met by a demon as he went to cross the bridge. The demon had threatened him with eternal damnation. The young friar not only returned the cherished book, but also rejoined the order of monks. Ever since then, people pray to St. Anthony for the recovery of lost or stolen items. Another famous miracle involved a challenge by a wealthy man. He told St. Anthony he would repent his evil ways if his donkey would recognize the Creator. St. Anthony was to stand on one side of the square and the rich man on the other with the donkey's favorite food. Unknown to St. Anthony, 3 days prior to the test, the rich man had starved the beast. During that same period, St. Anthony prayed. On the day of the test, the donkey chose to come to St. Anthony, who was holding a Holy Eucharist, and the donkey bowed before it. The rich man repented. St. Anthony was asked to speak at the funeral of a wealthy usurer. This man was a miser of the worst kind and worshipped money more than God. St. Anthony's presence drew a large crowd to the funeral, and Anthony preached against usury and the worship of money. He directed that the strong box of the dead man be opened. Under piles of gold, they found a still, warm heart. Racing back to the funeral, the dead man's chest was cut open to reveal an empty cavity where the heart should have been. Anthony stated, "Where your treasure is, there also is your heart." St. Anthony is most commonly pictured holding the baby Jesus in his arms, and this image traces itself to the testimony of Tito Borghese, Count of Campo San Pietro in Padua. One night while St. Anthony was a guest at the Count's home, the Count noticed a strong bluish light emanating from the chinks in the door to St. Anthony's chambers. Peeking in, he saw Anthony holding the Christ child. Later, when the Count met St. Anthony, he was sworn to secrecy by the saint as if the saint were guilty of a crime. During the lifetime of St. Anthony, the Count faithfully kept his word, but after his death, with tears streaming down his face, he gave a minute account of everything that had taken place. Today, St. Anthony is revered for his continuing spiritual help to those who need it most, and devotion to St. Anthony is widespread throughout Italy and the world. Whether you need to have something that is lost be found again, or whether you need to have a miracle, pray to St. Anthony as the Italians do, and he will help you. Italian-American Heroes, the Gallery of Congressional Medal of Honor recipients. The Civil War, Luigi Palma de Cesnola, Colonel, 4th New York Cavalry, for courage at the Battle of Aldie, Virginia. Thomas W. Hyde, Major, 7th Maine Infantry, for courage at the Battle of Antietam, Maryland. The Indian Wars, George Ferrari, Corporal, 8th U.S. Cavalry, for courage at Red Creek in the Arizona Territory. Spanish-American War, Franco Fornia, Private, United States Infantry, for courage at Santiago, Cuba. World War I, Michael Valenti, Private, United States Army, for courage in France. World War II, John Basilone, Sergeant, United States Marine Corps, for courage at the Battle of Guadalcanal. Vito Bertoldo, Master Sergeant, United States Army, for courage at the Battle of Hattin, France. Willibald C. Bianchi, First Lieutenant, United States Army, for courage at Bataan Province, Philippine Islands. Anthony Casamento, Corporal, United States Marine Corps, for courage at Guadalcanal. Ralph Celli, Major, United States Army, for courage at Wewak, New Guinea. Joseph J. Cicchetti, Private First Class, United States Army, for courage on Luzon, Philippine Islands. Mike Colalilo, Private First Class, United States Army, for courage near Untergrecium, Germany. Peter J. D'Alessandro, Technical Sergeant, United States Army, for courage near Katherberg, Germany. Anthony P. D'Amato, Corporal, United States Marine Corps, for courage at Eniwetok Atoll, Marshall Islands. Arthur F. DeFranza, Staff Sergeant, United States Army, for courage near Vaubardon, France. Gino J. Murley, Private First Class, United States Army, for courage near Sars-la-Brière, Belgium. Frank J. Petrarca, Private First Class, United States Army, for courage near Horseshoe Hill, New Georgia, Solomon Islands. Robert M. Viale, Second Lieutenant, United States Army, for courage in Luzon, Philippine Islands. Korean War, Reginald B. Desiderio, Captain, United States Army, for courage near Ipsak, Korea. Joseph Vittori, Corporal, United States Marine Corps, for courage on Hill 749, Korea. The Vietnam War, Louis Albanese, Private First Class, for courage in the Republic of Vietnam. Vincent R. Capodanno, Lieutenant, United States Navy, for courage in the Republic of Vietnam. John Orcaviani, Staff Sergeant, United States Army, for courage in the Republic of Vietnam. Frank R. Fratellenico, Corporal, United States Army, for courage, Republic of Vietnam. Gary W. Martini, Private First Class, United States Marine Corps, for courage, Republic of Vietnam. Louis Rocco, Sergeant First Class, United States Army, for courage, Republic of Vietnam. Humbert Versace, Captain, United States Army, for courage, Republic of Vietnam. The War in Afghanistan, Jared C. Monty, Sergeant First Class, United States Army, for courage in Gawardesh, Nuristan Province, Afghanistan. Salvatore Giunta, Staff Sergeant, United States Army, for courage in the Korangal Valley, Afghanistan. We salute all our heroes. The Festival della Canzone Italiana di Sanremo is a world-famous music competition held in the beach resort town of San Remo, Italy, every year since 1951. It's a songwriters competition rather than a singing competition, although many of the world's most famous singers have been invited to sing the previously unreleased songs that formed the backbone of the competition. In the aftermath of World War II, one of the proposals to revitalize the economy and the reputation of San Remo was to create an annual music festival to be held in the city. The first competition was held in the casino of San Remo and broadcast on Italian radio. Today, the event is held at the Teatro Ariston in San Remo and is one of the most popular TV events in Italy and all of Europe. The competition has launched the careers of many famous Italian and international artists, including Domenico Modugno, who won the competition twice, once for Nel blu dipinto di blu, which we know as Volare, and also for his song Piove, which was the American hit known as Ciao Ciao Bambino. Andrea Bocelli's career got a boost by singing in the festival, and many music stars, primarily known to Italian and European audiences, have benefited from participating in the festival. This includes Paola e Chiara, Giorgia, Laura Pausini, Eros Ramazzotti, and Gigliola Cinquetti. Another song that won the competition is Al di là, which won in 1961. It became a worldwide hit in the original Italian language. It's also one of my favorite songs. Many international artists have taken part in this competition. At one time, the songs were sung twice, once by an Italian artist and again by a more famous worldwide singer. Often an Italian singer was paired with an international star to sing the entered song as a duet. Many well-known American and English artists participated in this way, such as Peggy March, whom we all know for her American hit, I Will Follow Him. Other notables who have sung in the show are Connie Francis, Dusty Springfield, Petula Clark, and Bobby Gentry. The list continues with Gene Pitney, Pat Boone, Dionne Warwick, Louis Armstrong, Wilson Pickett, Mary Hopkin, Stevie Wonder, Jose Feliciano, and Ray Charles. The festival, though, is not only about the music and its singers. The festival also belongs to its presenters, who often play a very important role in determining the success or failure of the event. Certainly, when you say Festival di San Remo, almost every Italian will think of two names, Pippo Baudo and Mike Bongiorno, who anchored the show many times. Pippo Baudo 13 times, Bongiorno 11. And throughout the years, they have made it their own. The festival is also an occasion to memorialize big names of Italian music. Every year, one evening is kept for covers of important songs of the past. The first evening in 2017 witnessed a touching moment when Tiziano Ferro sang a song by Luigi Tenco, 50 years after Tenco committed suicide during the festival. At 28 years old, Tenco fell into a deep despair after learning that his song had been eliminated from the final competition. He has since become an Italian icon of love and despair. The Festival di San Remo, therefore, is not only a music festival, but a truly cultural event, which is today considered a bona fide Italian tradition. Songwriters, musicians, and singers from around the globe all dream of participating in this remarkable Italian event.